Hey all, here OS Reviews. It's been quite a while since we checked out a smart Android TV box, and today we're taking a look at a pretty decent valued option, at least on paper. This model here, called the Transpeed W2, sells for under 45 bucks, so again, quite cheap, but it does have 4 gigabytes of built-in RAM along with Android 11 and even a bundled remote control keyboard that makes it a little easier to type. There's 32 gigs of built-in storage, which is further expandable via a micro SD card slot. Even claims to have dual-band AC Wi-Fi in addition to the latest Bluetooth 5.2. With that said, the processor CPU is fitting for the price. It is just a quad-core ARM logic chipset based on the Cortex A35 architecture, nothing really outstanding, but again sufficient for something like this to watch back videos up to 4K 60 frames per second. So this competes with options like Amazon's Fire TV sticks and Xiaomi's Mi Box series, and this one just seems to give you a little bit more RAM than we have on those other more famous and popular options on the market. So we have the TV box itself, which I have to say is absolutely tiny. In fact, just as reference, here it is next to a standard AA battery and also something like a typical smartphone with a 6-inch display. And there's also a full HDMI cable included as a nice extra freebie, and there is also the power adapter with pretty standard barrel plug that is rated at 5 volt 2 amps, although I would always like to see something like micro USB or USB type C in the future, but this is what it is, easy enough since it will be plugged in pretty much at all times. The first remote here is quite standard, allows you to control some of the stations, use a cursor to move around. It's not an air mouse, but you do have the ability to kind of navigate the cursor using the 4-way commands, and it is using 2 AAA batteries. However, as aforementioned, you do get also a more fancy trackpad-enabled QWERTY mouse in the box, although it still uses AA batteries in this case. I do wish they could have used a rechargeable battery, but it is what it is. Now, interestingly, this actually connects using USB to the TV box, so it's similar to a 2.4G wireless mouse that's also compatible with your computer. If you just plug it into the USB socket, it doesn't use Bluetooth, for instance. Particularly if you're doing a lot of searching for TV shows and content, I would just really recommend using this one. Back to taking a look at the design itself, it has an interesting fusion of a matte and also glossy plastic on the front that makes it overall look not bad, especially for the budget price. And there is a small LED display underneath here that will show you the time when it's actually turned on and connected to power. On the side here we have the micro SD card slot for expanding memory, 2 USB 2.0 ports for connecting to accessories like the mouse, as well as thumb drives if you want to expand and read back files, optical for home cinema speakers, the AC adapter port, you have the full-size HDMI, Ethernet if you don't want to use built-in Wi-Fi, and AV as well for another option if you don't want to use HDMI. And then finally on the very back here, some soft touch rubber feet. Really, it's not bad looking at all for what the asking price is. Let's take a closer look at how it performs and the UI next. Alright, so here's the interface of the TV box, and a nice surprise with the touchpad remote is it is backlit, which allows you to pretty easily see it in the dark, which is nice, and you can even control the light as well. It goes to sleep after a few seconds to save on power, but wakes up when you tap again. Tap on function and F2 to cycle between the different colors. So here's a blue one, we also have a red one, and it goes back to turning off. So even a multicolored mode where it will just transition using the RGB light slowly between all of the colors that it can produce, which also looks quite cool, I have to admit. With that being said, keep in mind that this is operated using batteries, so this will probably drain the power a little bit faster. So the UI elements are quite simple, easy to navigate, also with the touchpad that we have here working quite well, or we can use the 4-way D-pad here to cycle back and forth through the carousel of apps, and we have just some of the standard Google apps installed, including Chrome for web browsing, and again, since we actually do have a trackpad and a real keyboard included in the box, it's not bad. And in terms of the trackpad, it does support multi-touch gestures like swiping. So if you use 2 fingers up and down, you can swipe, but it's a little bit jumpy as you can see there. Now the processor here keeps up okay in terms of doing simple tasks. It's not going to be lightning fast or super smooth as you can see there compared to on a more powerful smartphone, but it's certainly not bad, and most of controls on the remote are also fully mapped to work without any problems, like going back home, that will work as expected. Things like changing the volume can also be kind of adjusted here as you would expect, either muting or turning it up and down. Here we do have Netflix pre-installed, but again, you do have have to be a subscriber to use that service. You do have access to the full Google Play Store. You have KD Play, which is also built on in. So you're able to access all the files from an SD card, a thumb drive, or even a hard drive that you connect and watch them back and just interact, navigate using this UI, which is quite simple. And then we do have also YouTube that is pre-installed as well. So let's see how long it takes to play back a video here. A 4K clip, not bad at all in terms of the loading back speeds. Again, reception quality seems to be pretty decent on this TV box. We're going to just mute the sound for now, and other interface elements are very similar to, again, other Android TV boxes. I can scrub ahead. It does take a few seconds at times to buffer and play back, but overall not bad considering this is a 4K resolution clip. So you'll notice a moment or two of delay, but not bad. Overall, definitely usable for watching back videos, YouTube, Netflix, and TV shows, movies, the like. Once it starts playing back, it's pretty smooth. I'm not really noticing too much drop frames here. Now, on the very bottom of the UI, we also have access to some quick launch shortcuts. The middle button here allows you to jump into the full list of applications which are pre-installed, and this includes screen mirrorcasting apps as well. Now, we do also have another free App Store APK here if you don't want to use the official Google Play Store for some reason. For instance, if you don't want to create a Google account or necessarily sign in, you do have the ability to download apps and APKs. You can try other apps for movie watching, and that would be a good purpose. And very light games, it will be okay. Even though we do have a trackpad on here, just keep in mind that for games, a lot of these ones will work better with a touchscreen. And then pre-installed, aside from Netflix, we do also have Amazon Prime Video as well as Disney Plus. But again, these are all services which, if you are a subscriber, you can just log in and start watching, but they're not really free. So that's more or less it as far as our quick hands-on review of the W2 Android 11 Android TV box, a budget model, but not bad at all in terms of performance. Android TV boxes, overall the price of these things have come down a lot over the years, and now we can find one with a pretty competitive amount of RAM that also works well enough as a simple Android TV box. Although unlike a more expensive IPTV box, it's up to you to install the games and the apps, content that you really want to watch, but everything plays back at least pretty well. And I do like the fact that, again, that this model comes with that built-in bundled keyboard remote that's a little bit more fancy than usual. Thanks for watching here at OS Reviews. That's the Transpeed W2.